Welcome back to our series of people are not as stupid as you think, they are just unbelievably educated and being manipulated by a media machine that only wants them to think the worst of this world. And today we are going to focus on probably one of the most ridiculous topics that has ever come into our society, which is queers for Palestine. Now, you all know I can't be bothered to focus on the Palestine topic all the time because honestly it's exhausting and it's boring and there's no point to it. But I do think that the next video that I'm going to show you has a real importance to it because it exposes just how unbelievably uneducated most people are, and that the work that we have to do now is in education. That it's not that most people are just stupid and wrong, it's that they don't know the truth. And I have to tell you this, if you were to put me on a stand and have me debate about a topic that I'd never heard about and I wasn't familiar with, then maybe I'd look stupid too, but that doesn't make me evil. And the fact that people aren't informed is our responsibility to try and inform them, which is why I love it when people go out into the streets and do just that, which is what we're going to watch today. Do people really think that Queers for Palestine is a thing? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you believe in what the Pushback is doing. Surprise, surprise, the hint is in the name. We are pushing back against crazy narratives online. I'm Meira K, your host. If you can subscribe, I'll really appreciate it because we're trying to grow. And don't forget, February 15th, we've got a big announcement coming. So I'll see you then.
Which other place in the Middle East do you think that as a queer person you would have complete and utter liberation?
Lebanon, Syria, Yemen. Pretty much a lot of the Middle East.
So you can go to gay pride there.
Also, yeah, no, we can't go to gay pride there because in the Middle East it is illegal to be gay there.
Queers for Palestine, let's talk.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Do you know anything about Queers for Palestine?
A lot more than you think.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't really with what Israel is doing right now.
And Israel has always been, to me, in my opinion, a terrorist state. And it's very up that they say it's the other way around.
Is there anywhere safe for people that are queer in the Middle East, anywhere?
I think in Palestine they would be safe.
In Palestine? Do you mind if I show you something? This is in 2022.
Oh.
Is that what's going on in Palestine?
Yes. That is a gay man that's been imprisoned and is being tortured. Then his torso was decapitated. And this happened for the fact that it was his sexuality. Where would you guess that you would have certain liberties and said liberties in a democracy in the Middle East?
Hold on, it's kind of a... Wait, this one requires some thinking. Hold on.
Israel is the only country that you can actually, that has LGBTQ plus rights. The governing body of Palestine doing that to its own people is something that you can see, but
Yes,
you think
obviously
it's
showed it.
still
Yeah.
more important to fight the Zionists.
No, I think it's important to fight both sides instead of doing that.
Would you say there's like a group in Israel too that are fighting for rights of Palestinians?
Absolutely.
Because I will say I have seen a lot about Israel, but not anything positive. But I also have seen a lot about Palestine. But I feel like I can't say based off the stuff that I've seen on social media, I can't say exactly what's going on.
That's the first time back to you. I've heard things, but I don't know. I never asked. I never seen any proof of free. Yeah, I'm glad you showed me that.
I think a lot of the time, we were pulled at emotionally from our heartstrings, and then we're like, okay, but what's actually going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot. And you showed me time processing all of it. I appreciate you saying all of it.
It was very
Thanks for being open to have this conversation. It's so great meeting you too.
Just ask a lot of tough questions.
That's okay.
You're a tough reporter.
Well, that was definitely an interesting sit down, finding out exactly what Queers for Palestine truly stands for.
That's Bellamy. She's actually trans, and I know her. She's a very, very nice woman. That's what's so interesting about this, is that I think we've come to believe that people who don't like us are really our enemies. And let me be very clear. There are some people out there who are just evil and terrible, and there's no debating them. There's nothing to discuss with them. They're just bad people. And, I'm not afraid to talk about them. But I do think that there are a lot of people who are misled. And I think we've done a disservice to our society in not teaching people how to be able to siphon through information and select what is true versus what isn't. With the social media domination, it's become increasingly hard for people to be able to think critically, to say, wait, is this content real? Is this content not? What should I be thinking about? That guy who was wearing the keffiyeh, the older guy, who's like, you've asked a lot of hard questions. I have to think about this. That's the stuff that we're not doing in the right same way. We're trying to prove how we're right all the time. We're trying to put that down, like put that in people's faces, like, oh yeah, Israel, blah, blah, you're a terrible person for supporting Palestine. And in many ways, maybe there's truth to that. Maybe each person has an ethical obligation to figure out the truth. And if they stand and fight for something they don't know anything else about, like, that's on them. I do happen to agree with that. I think every person has the responsibility to figure it out. But we also have a responsibility to share the truth and to explain to people what really is going on. And it's so often that just simple conversations in a park with random people who have very strong opinions on something, they don't actually know the facts on the ground. They don't know. Now, I also don't think we live in a society or in a time where facts and truth is really the name of the game. I don't think that's how people make their decisions anymore. I think that's why people trust AI and ChatGPT so simply and so swiftly without even thinking about it. I think it's part of a much bigger problem that we have as a society. But all in all, it's important to remember most people don't know the truth. And they've been trained into believing the total lies, but also not being able to see and understand how to think for themselves, to be able to figure out what is truthful, what isn't. And that's an important thing for us to remember, an important thing to be honing in. If you're sitting here thinking to yourself, well, how do I explain the truth to people who don't know? It doesn't always take being a total genius. It takes just showing up and constantly repeating what you know to be truth and doing the work yourself to investigate and figure out what you believe in and what you stand up for. The reason that a lot of people aren't talking about Iran obviously is because of societal pressure, but it's also because they're not actually educated on what's going on. Like, that's a simple fact. They don't really know. And those two things come hand in hand. And so when you have a mission of terrorism to push agendas that people are being constantly trained to think something like that Palestine is a good thing, it's a good thing, it's a good thing, and the Zionists are evil, 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 and you have those messages being equated, then yes, people come to believe them. But it's often very simple facts that kind of destroy that argument quickly. And that's also important for us to believe and remember every single day. Thank you for your attention to this matter.